What we're looking at right now is $5 worth of computer parts. I say parts because the previous owner says it doesn't work anymore. Can we get it fixed? Can we get our $5 back out of it? I don't know. Let's find out. Quick overview of what $5 got us. We got a complete minus hard drives HP Pavilion P6000. And what that gets us, or comes with, is an AMD quad core 2640. It's pretty nice. It says 4 gigabytes of system memory, but the sticker up here says 8 gigabytes. So somebody's added a little something in there. A terabyte hard drive, not true. We got 2 80 gig hard drives. DVD burner, integrated graphics, wireless. Windows 7, pretty standard home computer. You got all the bells and whistles as far as card readers go. CD drive. This is probably empty. Yeah, that's empty. So that's a light scribe. Maybe we'll give that a try. And then pretty standard USB 2 and audio connectors. So I haven't been in here. I haven't started it up. Evidently though, I'm guessing it doesn't start up. I don't think we're going to be that lucky. I haven't plugged it in yet. So let's find out what happens. Little status LEDs on. That's a good sign. Can we see anything in here? Oh, we can see a couple LEDs on. All right. Well, let's see what happens. Kind of loud. It's getting louder. No signal. No beeps either. All right. I don't know what it's going to need just yet. Maybe it's just going to be a classic case of unplug and replug everything back in, reseat the RAM, the CPU and stuff like that. Or maybe it needs something. In case it needs something, I have a known good CPU. This one's an X2 250. Got a couple gigs of RAM. And I've got an old XFX HD 5450. And in case the power supply has gone bad, I have a known good one. I got old reliable here. It's super light and not very high quality, but it works. So we'll see if we can get this thing going. So let's take a peek inside. That's a funny thumb screw. It's really in there. Oh, it's pretty clean in here, which leads me to believe that somebody's tried to get this going. Oh, see the PCI bracket's gone for the PCI Express slot. So there was probably a graphics card of some sort in here at one time. All 4 RAM slots are populated, but I see some different colors in there. I also see the clips aren't exactly tight on there. So the first thing we should do is tear this down to bare bones. Remove it, USB, remove the CD-ROM, all of the RAM except for one slot, anything that we don't need for post. So we just basically need your power supply, one stick of RAM, and that's it. Everything else can go away. Oh, so the two extra sticks don't even match. I'm guessing that these are factory ones here. Guessing that probably helped them. It's not helping our problem. Hynix 2 GB, yeah. That's what you'd expect to see in here. So without RAM in there, let's see if it'll beep. Still no beeps. It's not a good sign. Let's stick one of these, the ones that I'm guessing are factory, back in there and see if it's just an issue with reseating. That is not a satisfying click. I just tried reseating that stick of RAM off camera to see if it was just, you know, I needed two hands for it to seat better. And I noticed, and I don't know if you're going to see this, but down in the second RAM slot, there is some gunk. Really hard to see, but it's right there and right there. Now, I wasn't trying to plug into that slot, but I'm wondering if whatever's in there is somehow conductive in shorting things out. So maybe I'll clean that out real quick here, and we'll see if it gets any better. Now, you don't have to worry about denatured alcohol, or isopropyl alcohol, as it's not conductive. And just a pretty normal toothbrush, little rubbing alcohol, and hopefully we've cleaned that out. It looks clean. Let's give it another try. I'm gonna let it dry out fully first. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes. Let's seat the RAM back in there. That is the most unsatisfying RAM to install. Okay, let's see if it works. Doesn't seem to. Let's try reseating the processor. Always wiggle these back and forth a little bit to break their bond, because sometimes you can tear the processor right out of the socket. I don't think that'll help things. I'm gonna clean that off real quick, and then we'll pull it out. And hopefully it'll be something as simple as reseating it, because you never know, weird things happen. For cleaning off the processor, I like to start dry, because if you come down into here with all of this thermal compound on here with some alcohol. It'll just run all down the sides and it makes a mess. So I can get the bulk of it with a dry paper towel. Should probably stay in shot. Okay. Athlon 2. Athlon 640, yep. So the original processor's in there, which is cool. Sometimes you get something like this and somebody's messed with it trying to get it to work and you find out that there's an issue with it. Speaking of an issue with it, look at that. So I lost my train of thought. What I was saying is sometimes there'll be an issue with a computer and somebody will stick some sort of cheap, not saying that this isn't a cheap processor, but a cheaper something in there, and then huck it out the door because it doesn't work and they're tired of it. So I think we just found our issue, but the problem is going to be straightening those out without messing them up. All the rest of them look like they're in good shape. Well, actually, oh, that's the same side. Okay, well, I'm gonna straighten these out and see what we can do. Let's see if there's any damage to the socket. It looks straight enough. All right, be right back. So I spent about 10 minutes straightening them out. They're pretty straight. They don't have to be absolutely perfect, since the socket will straighten them out a little bit if needed. All I did is, much like in my pin straighten video for the 486DX4, I did just use tweezers and gently massage them into place. And gold is pretty soft, so you don't want to like force it or anything, but it should bend straight back. There is always the danger of pulling off a pin or busting one. There's nothing you can do. If it's gonna break, it's gonna break. But this time, it looks like maybe we got away with it. So let's put it back in. Put some thermal paste on it and fire it up. And then always make sure you find pin 1 corresponds with either a triangle or other denoting mark on there. I don't know if it would fit a different way, but maybe that happened to this before. I'm getting a little resistance for putting it in there. Not bending anything though. Let me try one more time. Oh, there we go. Just gonna set the cooler down on top of it. Not gonna clamp it on there. Just want some cooling. Some heat dissipation. Come on. Why aren't you going in there? That is a tight fit. I need 2 hands. Okay, I just got a resting in there. I'm gonna put some paste on it, but I just want to see if this fixes it. If not, we have another processor to see if we can fix it with that. Hopefully this one's not dead because of those bent pins. The processors are pretty resilient, believe it or not. They stand up to a lot of abuse and still work. So let's see what happens. Hey, hey, look at that. That's what it was. A couple of bent pins. And if I had to guess about what it was that caused those bent pins, is since there is a lack of dust in this case, and I see fingerprints where somebody touched in there for some reason, I'm gonna guess they came in here and ripped the CPU out, you know, thinking they were gonna clean it out, put on new thermal paste. And the processor probably came with it. And then they messed up the pins putting it back in. I don't know for sure, but that's what I would guess. So always wiggle back and forth and break that bond. In fact, that might have been what happened, because I see some white or lighter paste mixed in with this darker paste. So I'm guessing that's what happened. But sweet, we got a $5 piece of junk. So I cleaned the fan off and the cooler, put new, you know, the crap that goes between the CPU and the cooler so the heat can do its thing and get dissipated on there. The very astute of you will notice that I flipped the fan over so that it's blowing downward rather than sucking upward. I did this to help cool all the VRMs and MOSFETs down there. And of course, this, I'm guessing there's a north bridge under there that's going to benefit from some airflow and cool the RAM off. I mean, RAM doesn't really need cooling, but I feel like it's better to have this blowing downward onto the board to keep things a little bit happier and healthier. Other than that, this is hopefully not broken. I put all the RAM in there, and let's make sure that we are in the same place we left off. And we are. That's good. Okay. I've noticed it's quieter. It's weird. I can still hear what sounds like the power supply. Yeah, I think the power supply is making noise. I'll yank that out of there and clean it out real quick. Hopefully it'll quiet it down. But it is way quieter, maybe because it's just laying down. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, that's it. That fan's not having a good time. See if I can do something about that. I don't have a replacement power supply for it now. But let's see if I can fix it. So I took it and I blew all the dust out of it, but unfortunately that is still a very crunchy fan. Might be a little bit better, but I should probably replace that. I got the new fan into the power supply. It's just an old Dynex 80mm I had laying around. As luck would have it, it has the same power rating as the one that was in there, 12 volts, 0.18 amps. When replacing a fan in a power supply, you don't really have to match the voltage draw. It's a good idea, but I've never had a problem putting one in there that was like rated lower or higher. It just so happens this time everything lined up. As far as replacing fans inside of a power supply, unless you really know what you're doing, probably shouldn't. I'm not trained or anything like that. I haven't really the foggiest of what's going on inside here, but I stay away from everything. I have done this plenty of times and I've never been hurt. That's not to say that you'd be as lucky. So my advice, just replace the power supply if you don't really know what you're doing. Okay, the new fan is in the power supply and the power supply is in the computer. Let's see what it sounds like. That is much better. So we're gonna need a hard drive to put an OS and, you know, stuff on. And I have a few choices. I can put the 80 gigabyte that I got with the computer in there. I could put 2 of them in there and run them in RAID. I don't know if that juice would be worth the squeeze. I could put one of my many Seagate 500 gigabytes in there. But to really wake it up, I could put a 256 gigabyte SSD in there. Choices. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the factory hard drive caddy has 4 holes on the front that are perfectly lined up with an SSD. It even puts the connections right at the top. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think the choice has been made for us. We're going SSD. Now that we got a hard drive installed, we fixed the pins on the CPU, and we changed the fan out in the power supply. Let's turn it on, make sure everything's working correctly, and then I'll install Windows and we'll see what this thing can do. Don't get your hopes up, it won't be much. And there we go, we brought this thing back from the dead. I'm not sure why, because it can't do much. It gets terrible Cinebench scores, and it can barely run the Heaven benchmark, and I would not say that Minecraft was playable at 15 frames a second. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and check out some of my other videos. Thanks again.